Welcome, Jeffrey, and thank you for joining.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'm humbled to be on your show this evening. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Well, you got me like we shared about earlier. Being on with you last week, it really hit me hard in realizing the power of doing these podcasts and connecting with other people on sharing their story. So thank you for giving me that drive and putting that passion into me, because again, last year I was doing these as well in a different format, just connecting with other women who share the same pain and suffering that I did as well throughout life. But today, a year later, with the drive and fire that you put inside of me to be doing what I'm doing, it's now reaching those same people, but with them overcoming and sharing what they overcame with, and how now we're all in a very successful place, and then to be sharing this and to be giving back. So I look forward with you sharing today your history with the things you've went through, and now being the success that you are today. So
thank you, Jeff. Yeah, so it's all about bringing awareness, and for primarily men, we have a tendency to, as you know, hold everything in and just keep it to ourselves, because the reality is that men do have feelings, and we do have those inner thoughts just as women do. But just to give a little history in regards to my background, or where I was coming from as a young boy growing up, I knew that there was something different about me when I was actually 6 years old, and then 10 is when things started to manifest. And over the next 10 to 15 years, I went through some really devastating times in regards to child sexual molestation, rape, and severe anxiety, depression, as well as chemical dependency, and two attempts at suicide. So back in the 70s and 80s, it was a very devastating time coming out as a gay male and dealing with the stigma of that community and all of the negative press that was getting, as well as in the 80s when the AIDS epidemic came about. So that was more of my really traumatic portion of my life back in the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s. And now I've transitioned into a whole different arena and stuff like that. So
yeah,
but, we need to open up. We need to be able to talk about it, and really not be ashamed. And I dealt with shame. I dealt with hiding so much until the book came out, until I was asked to do the book. And, yeah.
Right on. So with all that you've been through the pain and suffering that you went through in your life, that must have been very hard, obviously, to try to overcome all that you have. So in your transition and going through all of that, how was it that you were able to overcome the challenges that you did have?
Sure. So after my second attempt, it was 87. It was in the early 90s, and I was living in Boston, and I had left New York City because I was there for a number of years performing and in the theater arts, and got back involved with theater, and that was a huge outlet for me to be able to get occupied after work doing something that was productive. And I always had a passion for theater, and that really helped me broaden and expand in my own internal awareness, and getting rid of those demons, and providing value, and providing or fulfilling a purpose. Okay. I think that we're all here for a purpose.
Yes.
And we need to really find what that purpose is, And one of my purposes was that, to be able to perform and choreograph it, direct, and provide something for somebody else. But I was still missing some certain things, and from an internal perspective. But I managed to go through that. Back in my day, you didn't talk about things that I was going through because you just didn't. Today, it's a lot different. There are vehicles today that are and tools that are out there for people who are struggling, and it's a matter of them making the choice. And it's all about a choice to wanting to really get clean, get fixed, get whatever the case may be for that individual situation. So theater was it for me. Dealt with the corporate America stuff, and in 2016 is when I actually left corporate America because I wanted something more significant, and I wanted to have more meaning in my life. I wanted to be able to make a difference. And so I struggled for a couple of years in regards to finding more of that burning desire inside of me. And a little over a year ago, I came across a humanitarian entrepreneurial tribe that really focuses on mental wellness.
Okay. So more about them then, like how did they help you and assist you in more of your growth?
So yeah, great question. So the group that I'm involved with is it's the first holistic mental wellness company that really focuses on the microbiome. And for those that don't know what the microbiome is, it's the gut-brain axis. It was a project that actually started in 2006. Okay. And over the last 4 to 5 years, they have been publishing the results of their research and their clinical trials. And with that, they have really have made some profound accomplishments in this microbiome and the connection, how it really connects with between the gut, which is your second brain, your brain, and now they're saying that your heart is your third brain. And in essence, that 80% of the neurotransmitters are actually created in your gut, which actually communicate with your brain. So with that, and not to get into a lot of science here for people, but it's just really the science is there, the technology is advanced so far enough ahead that we're able to do this research. And the group and the company that I'm affiliated with is 3 to 4 years ahead of anybody else doing what we're doing, because we're providing our platform consists of basically products, programs, and people. Our products are science-backed, clinically trialed, plant-based. They're vegan-friendly, and they focus on specific microorganisms, because 90% of our body is microorganisms, and then the other is human cells. So we're really walking amoebas. But the product line focuses on those specific microorganisms that actually talk and communicate between the gut and the brain and the heart. Okay. And so the door to really working on different aspects of gut health and mental wellness. And mental wellness is anything from anxiety, stress, depression. We're now even looking at the microbiome as a result of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease and dementia. Any autoimmune disease, any mental disease is now being related back to gut health.
Because it's actually, they have gotten awards so far, and it actually has been helping people with what you just said, even coming off of medications, to have a healthy alternative.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. We know the side effects from using certain prescription drugs.
Right.
When we were sharing and talking on your live podcast, and it's something I want to clarify as well, because I've watched it probably 30 times, so I can learn and grow, watching myself with the passion and drive to be giving back to people with what we're doing today. But I said, one of the statements I said to you, and it wasn't clear. I said, I'll never knock prescription drugs. And that's only because I was lucky the first time when I was 32 to find a prescription drug that stopped the anxiety, stopped the depression. I was so lucky to have found something in that way. Now, what happens when we run out of prescription drugs and whatnot, like I did when I shared with you? Right. What happens then? We don't fix the core issues. We're not fixing and healing the core issues that are causing us to use it. We're only masking. And as well, I mean, they do have a purpose in the place, like I said. When I was in a bad state of severe depression, and if anyone is going through severe depression or symptoms of other challenges they might have mentally, to get on something and to find something right away to stop someone from committing suicide, it does have a purpose in the place. But right. When I shared as well, all of a sudden when they didn't have them anymore for me, and then they're giving me all these other ones to try this and that, it completely threw me off. And it wasn't until my transformation this past summer where I learned, I learned how to overcome it in a natural way, because we can learn to start using new tools when we learn them. And it's all about us doing what we're doing now, is sharing knowledge, right? Absolutely. So then other people have other ways of dealing with it. Now, the one thing I love when I'm going to bring people on every second week here is you have your ways that helped you, and people are going to connect with you, and you can help them in your way. Now, the way that I do it with myself is a different way, different tool, different knowledge that I can help people with, right? But it might not be for everyone. So right. When we're all on here sharing all these different ideas and tools that help us, like now with what, and also, for yourself, you were also talking about through your transformation, you lost 60 pounds, you reversed your diabetes, type 2. Right. So if you want to share a little bit about that, because that's absolutely amazing on its own.
Yeah. So, I grew up in Western medicine and was really frustrated. And when I got involved with the holistic side of things, I actually was introduced to the Holistic Chamber of Commerce when I moved down here to Cape Coral, Florida. And I started working with a health coach, and we were really focused on sugar, because for a diabetic, sugar is really bad. Yeah. So, but through my research, and the studies that she was providing me, I came across some articles about reversing my type 2 diabetes. And I'm like, what? I was like really totally shocked, because I think it was in my mid 40s is when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And it runs in our family. Okay. Yeah. So, but my doctor never really told me you can reverse your type 2 diabetes. I thought I just had to live with it, manage it, maintain it. Yeah. But when I read these articles, I did more research, and I used really type 2 diabetes is all about food. Okay. That's pretty much it. It's what are you eating? And the foods that we're eating today, especially here in the U.S., I'm going to say, I mean, I know other countries don't have what we have here, but we eat a lot of processed foods. We eat a lot of foods that are in boxes.
I heard that you guys have a full aisle of Pop-Tarts.
Oh yeah, well they said if you bury a Twinkie in a landfill, it would be there like 10 years later, and it would still be preserved. So, but I took this program called Project B3. It's a body brain biome. I really learned about the the whole connection, because it's not only about food, it's about a lot of different modalities, if you will. And with this, I learned about the right supplementation, because we have supplementation here, but our foods don't have the nutrients because we've depleted the land of our land of nutrients with all the chemicals, with glyphosate, which is in Roundup, and all of those, weed killers or weed and pesticides, which are destroying the human body, which is the gut, actually. And, so I learned about the correct supplementation that is better than certified organic. And then we talk about exercise, nutrition, and stress management. Stress management stress is, the World Health Organization says that stress is the 21st century killer because it is devastating. The stress levels that everybody's under today, with work, family, and money being a major factor in people's lives, because it's not like it was when in the 40s and 50s when moms could stay home and raise the kids. The economy doubles every 10 years, but your salaries don't. So I learned through that. I utilized that program. I really focused on exercise and nutrition, went primarily plant-based. I lost 60 pounds. It's not done overnight. No. Yes, I had my challenges in the beginning, but I knew what the outcome was because my father passed away from type 2 diabetes and heart disease and an amputation. A couple years later, his sister did. Then a couple years later, his youngest brother. And I was like, oh my God, I'm next in line. I didn't want to follow in that family tradition. So that's what I did. I applied myself, and I still have more work to do. I'm still, and it's a lifestyle change.
I love it.
I need to stay this way and continue to incorporate this, because if I fall off the tracks and go back to what I was, it just leads from, type 2 diabetes to blindness to, amputation to heart disease, dementia, and then ultimately Alzheimer's if you don't die before then.
Yeah. Okay. What else was I going to ask you? There was something popped in my mind when you were talking there. Shoot. Now I forgot what I wanted to ask you.
That's all right. That's all right.
Okay. Well, we're almost at 20 minutes here, and I try to keep it around 20 because I feel that anytime when people are watching, if they're way too long, they stop watching. Is there anything before we go? What are two helpful tips that you can share to give back to the viewers who are connecting with you through this podcast today and helping them overcome the pain and suffering, since you have done it, and where people might be connecting with you today, that they might be going through the same thing?
Sure. So the first thing is to be open, and not afraid of getting information. I think a lot of people are the fear stands in the way of many people. So knock down that fear to be able to open up your doors to receiving some information. And then from that, definitely go out and reach out to Jeff, reach out to me, reach out and request. I'm here to provide value. I'm here to direct people to certain locations of gathering information, and then you as the individual need to make your own educated decision, because that's what I did. I mean, I was introduced to this company and what they were all about. I took 2 weeks to really research it and do a deep dive, and then I made a decision. It made sense. It was really something that I grasped and became very passionate. I've got this is my burning desire. My burning desire is to be part of this revolution, because the microbiome is the science that is disrupting the health and wellness industry today. We will be a household name. We are having profound impacts on people's lives, and we're making significant strides in this new science, and helping people from all aspects of gut and mental health.